Hey, I got a push code to my company's GitHub. That was really awesome. It was also kind of lackluster because I don't know, I was expecting to break the whole company code base or something. That did not happen, but it was really awesome to see that it did happen. I got push my company. I got push code to the company's GitHub for the first time. The company being Your Science Engagement, and the code being my retrieval augmented generation evaluation framework. And the framework, I didn't do the feedback loop part, but I did the intrinsic and extrinsic evaluation portions of it. So being able to push that to the GitHub was really cool. At the end of the day, I was really satisfied to have like a day where I could complete all my tasks. What I did at the start of the day, I said, okay, I'm gonna go into one of the meeting rooms with a whiteboard. I'm just gonna write them. I'm gonna brainstorm what I want to accomplish today. I'm gonna break down all the stuff I have to do to accomplish those things. I created my deliverables for the day. I got all of them delivered, and that was just awesome to see. And it's also really cool having like a mentor who can help you do your code and walk you through it. I think that's something that's really awesome because it's not just a matter of like, okay, obviously there's like a bunch of smart people out there in the world, but having a smart person who's able to say, not able just to tell you the answer kindly, but is also able to guide you to the answer is really something that's really valuable. It's also someone who's willing to listen to your ideas. It's also something that I think encourages me to think more because it's not just a matter of like, okay, there's an answer I have to reach. It's more so I'm trying to build a solution. Those are two very distinct approaches because once there's an answer you're trying to reach, you you're not thinking in terms of being a builder. You think of being in terms of a student. Like, okay, I have to find the answer for this test or whatever. But once you're trying to build something from the ground up, that's when it's like, okay, you're willing to take more risk. You're willing to learn more. Because like, okay, even if this thing doesn't seem to align directly with what my preconceived notion of the answer is, I know there's not a direct answer to this. So that means it could lead me somewhere that's valuable. And oftentimes it doesn't, but it does give me the tools and resources to get me closer to that ideal solution that I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, it was really awesome to just push the code to GitHub. I also really happy with my coding process now. Cause a lot of it's like, okay, the coding portion, because the code I often use is not like some groundbreaking thing. There's not like, it's not, how to explain it. It went from like the algorithms are not too advanced. So a lot of the times it can just be like, okay, hey Google or hey Gemini, create these blocks of code for me. And then I'll move on from there. But because those parts are easy. The main trouble comes in actually figuring out the plan for the code. Because Gemini, in my opinion, and my experience, is not that great when it comes to coming up with like large scale plans or trying to figure out a plan. Because sometimes it's like if I really don't, I think I'm just tired. I use Gemini or ChatGPT. It will gaslight me into like thinking a good solution, sorry, a dumb solution is a good solution, and it just keeps on going to like this loop of like continue to feed itself with lies, and then you get stuck there for like 2 hours realizing the solution was staring at you the whole time. So what I do now is I go to a whiteboard and I draw the solution. And very often the whiteboard isn't needed, but acts as like a canvas to get my brain rolling. It's like, okay, I have this white screen in front of me. I have no like there's nothing, there's no answer, there's no questions. It's just like I have to build from scratch. And how do I get to wherever I'm feeling is the best answer? I think that's like a really great. I did explain it properly, but that's how I like to do it. And usually, especially throughout this internships, it's allowed me to think much more critically about the stuff I build and how I build it. Because another thing I do with that is I also use ChatGPT, the voice assistant. So what I like to do is I use that um, as a tool to kind of speak to. Because when I speak out loud, it takes these vague ideas in my head and makes them much more concrete. So if the idea falls flat when I'm speaking out loud, that means the idea probably isn't that good. But if it stands strong, I can actually verbalize or make words out of it. That means it's probably something valuable and something I can continue building on. Also, just having ChatGPT, they don't only just to listen, but also give you like some ideas you didn't think of, or maybe some approaches you weren't thinking of at the moment. But it could be something you could explore. It's also really just immensely valuable. So it's been something that I'm cautious about, but it's been so helpful when I'm brainstorming. I think that's the new approach, or relatively new approach I'm really taking to this whole thing of using AI is really making sure that brainstorming process is very me focused. Because like when it comes to building is neither here nor there. Very often like some stuff that can be automated, like some code is like, okay, this is like easy code to write, but I just don't want to write it. So do the organization, do like the formatting for me because I like my code to look neat. Um, but when it comes to the actual brainstorming, actual plan of it, um, that's where I have to use my brain because it builds those skills to plan out properly. But very often, ChatGPT and Gemini, I would argue, actually kind of look for the easiest answer or the most predictable one. So once you're dealing with stuff that are more so novel or aren't as very common, that's where they kind of struggle. And at least I'm suspecting this. I think for stuff like that, they don't reason as much when it comes to stuff like if you ask them to reason, then yeah. But then if you just prompt like, hey, give me an idea or build this thing now, it's not going to reason. So we're just going to figure out the most predictable outcome, which is something I should actually explore more. It's like actually get into AI to like create a thinking process before it actually gets to predicting or generating the answer. Um, but yeah, I think it's really cool. I think the whole process, this whole internship has just been awesome. Even building my LinkedIn or my influence throughout the internship has been really cool. But man, coding is so much fun. I feel like it's something I know I say this every couple of months about how coding is fun. I like relearned my love for coding. But it really is true. It's just like it's such a fun thing to do. Especially when you're not like because the way when I take a break from coding, when I'm not coding as often, coding can very often seem like this thing where you have to be locked in for 7 hours straight and you can't leave your laptop. But very often, like if you're locked in for 7 hours straight, just staying on your laptop and coding, you're probably not being the most productive. You're probably like running very fast in the same place. I think it's cool for me because a lot of it's like we're just planning. I just love the planning portion of it. I feel like Batman directing the Justice League. And I think that's probably the coolest part about the whole thing. Um, but yeah, besides that, I have nothing else to say. So, have a great day.